2. Image formation, accommodation, and visual pathway. Introduction. In this lecture, you will learn how images are formed in the eye, the mechanisms underlying the constrictions of the pupils, convergence of the eyeballs, and changing the power of the lens regulates the intensity of the light would equally be demonstrated. The highlights involve the concepts of accommodation, retina projection, and the visual pathway. Objectives. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to 1. Describe the physiology of vision by human eye. 2. Illustrate the functioning of the cones and rods in the regulation of light. And 3. Explain the mechanism of image formation and accommodation. Retest. 1. What do you understand by accommodation? 2. How is image formed in the human eye? 3. Describe the physiology of human sight. 4. What is binocular vision? Content. How image is formed. The light gets refracted when it passes through cornea, aqueous humor, lens, and vitreous humor. As a result of this, the image falls on the retina. But when we look at the near object, its image will be formed behind the retina. Here, the curvature of the lens is increased by the contraction of the ciliary muscles so that the image is formed on the retina. Thus, depending upon the distance of the object from the eye, its ability to focus the image on the retina by altering the convexity of the lens is called the power of accommodation. In addition to the contractions of the ciliary muscles, the curvature of the cornea, shape of the pupil, and the fluids in the eye also help in this process. Accommodation. The constrictions of the pupils, convergence of the eyeballs, and changing the power of the lens assist accommodation by reducing the width of the beam of light entering the eye so that it passes through the central curved parts of the lens. In a bright light, the pupils are constricted. In a dim light, they are dilated. If the pupils were dilated in a bright light, too much light will enter the eye and damage the sensitive retina. In a dim light, if the pupils were constricted, insufficient light will enter the eye to activate the photosensitive pigments in the rods and cones, which stimulates the nerve endings in the retina. Contraction of the circular muscles of the iris constricts the pupil, and contraction of the radiation muscles of the iris dilates it. Sympathetic stimulation dilates the pupils, and parasympathetic stimulation causes constriction. The pupil constricts in bright light and dilates in dim light. When the circular muscles contract, the pupil decreases in size. The lens is made of a substance which has elasticity. The lens is connected to the ciliary muscles with the help of ligaments. The lens in the eye is convex. The chemistry of vision. Image of the objects are formed in the eye. Photoreceptors such as rod cells and cone cells are present in the retina. Rod cells get stimulated in dim light. Thus, it helps the vision in dim light. But cone cells get stimulated only in bright light. The cone cells help to distinguish colors and to see the object in bright light. The pigment seen in the rod cells is rhodopsin. When light falls on it, rhodopsin dissociates, results to chemical changes. The impulses formed as a result are received as a stimulus by the nerve cells. Retinine, which is the part of the rhodopsin, is synthesized from vitamin A. 9. It is clear that the deficiency of vitamin A causes night blindness. There are different types of cone cells to recognize the primary colors, namely blue, green, and red. They contain different types of a pigment called iodopsins, which helps us to recognize the primary colors. Damages in any of these cone cells may cause inability to distinguish colors. This is called color blindness. The blind spot and the yellow spot. The part of the retina where the optic nerve begins lacks rod cells and cone cells. This part is called blind spot. The part which is seen almost in the center of the retina is called yellow spot. More cone cells are present here. There are no rod cells. It is the point of highest vision. When we concentrate on small objects, the image is formed here. The physiology of vision. You have understood that the light that falls on the photoreceptors causes a chemical change. This stimulus creates impulses that travel through the optic nerve, which is formed by the clustering of axons of the photoreceptors, reaches the cerebrum. The process involves refraction of light rays, changing the size of the pupils and accommodation of the eyes. Though the image formed in the retina is inverted, it is the cerebrum that makes the vision a reality. Binocular vision. Though the image of an object is formed in both eyes, we do not feel it as two separate images. It is the cerebrum which coordinates the images formed in both the eyes. The binocular vision helps us to calculate the distance from objects correctly. This is not possible for all animals. Binocular vision is obtained since it is possible to concentrate both eyes on a single object. The balanced movement of the two eyes is made possible by the muscles of the eyeball. If the balanced movement of the muscles is not possible, the condition is called squint. Early detection of this disorder can be rectified by careful surgery. Glaucoma. You have understood that the production and reabsorption of the aqueous humor is a continuous process, but where reabsorption is prevented, the pressure inside the aqueous chamber is increased. The increase in pressure in the eyeball results in glaucoma. The patient gets pain in his eyes and he sees color rings around the flame. As this continues, the extraordinary pressure causes the receptor cells to disintegrate. Protection within the eye. The position of the tear gland is very important in the protection of the eye. The tears produced by this gland enter into the nose. An enzyme called lysozyme present in tears prevents infection of the eye. Take 2. An enzyme called lysozyme present in tears prevents infection of the eye. Conjunctiva is a membrane which covers the conjunctivitis. Summary. In this lecture, we have learned that images are formed on the retina depending upon the distance of the object from the eye, its ability to focus the image on the retina, and by altering the convexity of the lens. Also, photoreceptors such as rod cells and cone cells are present in the retina and relevant in distinguishing colors. We equally learned that physiology of vision involves refraction of light rays, changing the size of the pupils, and accommodation of the eyes. The binocular vision helps us to calculate the distance from objects correctly. Lastly, the increase in pressure in the eyeball results in glaucoma. This is the end of study section 6. Thanks for listening.